This is how close I am to the airport. Only 1,000 feet overhead. Hohokam 101. The Hohokam Salt River's right over that way. And remember that terrain, because we're going to come back to it in a second. The Hohokam built canals. This is an example of the kind of canal that they would build. Canals, bigger canals from the river, other canals would come off of this and would be used for farming to irrigate their crops. All over the Tempe, and of course they didn't put in this bridge. All over the Phoenix area, this county, whatever it is, you can find these canals if you know what you're looking for, and they're just not that hard to find. So this is an example of a Hohokam canal, right? Nope. You know how you edit film, how news edits stuff to make sure that they look like they know what they're doing, like they're being honest? Well, this is an embankment. That is downhill. That is downhill to the river. This is not a Hohokam, this is just a canal that has been used. And it may be a Hohokam canal. They may have added this embankment to keep the water in it. I don't know. I'm not from here, what do I know? Anyway, like, subscribe, comment, especially comment. Let me know what you think. I've got a couple of mallards down there. Hen and a rooster out here just by themselves, eating mosquitoes and doing what mallards do. Y'all have a great day. I keep seeing these little ground squirrels. See if I can catch one of them flitting across here. I've seen them, half a dozen of them so far in the last 3 minutes. Now that I'm over here, they're going to disappear. What prompted this is a minute ago, one of them, there's a hole, there's a hole, there's some more holes, there's a hole over there. Their holes are all over the place because they got to have a place to go to escape. Dragonfly. They're out here doing what ground squirrels do, trying to survive. Now, when you're looking for ruins, you'd find something like this. This might be an example of a home where the rocks are stacked up. I doubt this is one, but it could be. It's about the right size. They'd dig a foundation, line it with rocks, and then cover it with limbs, and then cover the limbs and with dirt. Have a nice place to stay in the cool in the summer. I don't know anything about the plants out here, so I can't even tell you what this stuff is. Anyway, looks like no ground squirrels for me. Or ground squirrels for me, none for you. Life's like that some days. Alright kids, I don't know what part this is, but welcome back to the neighborhood. This is an example of one of those canals with a nice trail put in now. The Hohokam dig these canals. This one's obviously not more than a couple of feet deep. They would dig these to bring water in to their crops. This one's nice and wide, so it's more of the headwater at the start. As you get upstream, you make the canals narrower, and you slope them such that the water never gets to very much speed. Then you raise your crops. Welcome to the neighborhood, kids. It's about 3 in the afternoon. This is South Mountain. Obviously they're just hills, but they're called mountains. first time I came out here and climbed, went up something that looks about like that valley right there, climbed all the way to the top. Now that's not the one, but it's one if you've seen it once, you've seen it 100 times. I can hear Gamble's quail calling occasionally. Hopefully we'll get to record them. It's a 5-mile hike, 2.5 miles up, 2.5 miles are Gamble's quail. Here he is. Gamble's quail. How about that? Y'all got to see it with me. That makes this trip out here worthwhile. These Gamble's quail are not very common anymore, and weren't very common before, even less so now that we've taken away so much of their habitat. South Mountain used to be areas on the mountains here where local folks would come to pray. The Hohokam, the Maricopa, I don't know. I don't remember all the names. It's been too long since I've studied it. This was the area that they lived in. And you see some of these plants. These are the plants that they would have used for medicine and fuel and food and whatever a body needs. There's a really cool looking little cactus right there. I think that's a barrel cactus there. Maybe a saguaro baby. There's a saguaro there. Yeah, I bet that's a saguaro because that's a saguaro. Looks just like that, only taller. I don't know desert plants, so I couldn't tell you anything about these. Anyway, back to my story. I was climbing up, and kids, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, 20-year-olds were passing me, encouraging me. Keep up, sir. Keep it up, sir. You got this. You got this, sir. You can do it. You can make it. Blah, 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 blah. And then a couple hours later, while I'm still climbing up and they are on their way down, they're giving me that same kind of encouragement. You got it. You're going to make it. Just keep going. You're almost there. By the time I got to the top, clouds started rolling in and I became fogged in, and I sat there for a minute thinking, well, damn it, now what am I going to do? Get lost on the way down. I had done the wise thing. I brought water and food. My plan was if I fall and break a hip, I'll be able to find my way back down or hang on until somebody can get me. For size reference, that's how big these little bitty flowers are. Tiny little flowers. And I haven't seen any pollinators on them, so I don't know how they pollinate. Probably self-pollinate as close as they are. Anyway, after about 10 minutes, the clouds cleared. And I continued on up to the top and then turned around and made my way back. It was a great day. Everybody's gone home by the time I came back. Bees. Anybody that knows me knows that I love bees. I can hear way more than I can see. The concern is honeybees. I don't know what kind of bees these are because I can't see them to identify them. Honeybees in Arizona are Africanized, which means if you disturb a hive, 10,000 of them are going to come out and you're going to get bit 1,000 times and they're going to chase you forever and a day, trying to kill you. I don't know what these are. I'm just going to hope that they are. There's one that's lit. Where did he go? Right there. gonna hope these are not Africanized, otherwise I'm gonna be dead. If I get killed, it's all on y'all. There's the lizard. If you like bees, you gotta like lizards. I don't know what the connection is, but must be a connection. That's some kind of lizard. Sitting down there living life. This is a bee, I think, similar to what I had over there before. There are a lot of different species of bees. This one seems to be ground dwelling, and seems to be trying to find her I'm getting her occasionally here. Oh, she quit buzzing, so she must have found her hole in the ground. I don't see a hole down there anywhere. But she quit buzzing, so she must have gone underground. Oh, there's a different one. Now it's gone. Goes a bird of some type. I didn't see it fast enough to get a clue what it was. Don't see it. Can't tell it, but a bee just backed out of that. Apparently is building a nest under that rock. It's a ground dwelling. I can still hear her buzzing down there. Hopefully she'll come back in a second. There she goes. How cool. Oh, she seems to be covering something up in there. I don't even know what kind of bee that is, so I have to show it somebody to figure it out. How about that? How about that, kids? Nature is cool. If I didn't know it was a bee and I'm just looking down there, I'd think it was a spider. Oh. Right there. Can't tell it, but a bee just backed out of that. Apparently is building a nest under that rock. It's a ground dwelling. I can still hear her buzzing down there. Hopefully she'll come back in a second. There she goes. How cool. Oh, she seems to be covering something up in there. I don't even know what kind of bee that is, so I have to show it somebody to figure it out. How about that? How about that, kids? Nature is cool. If I didn't know it was a bee and I'm just looking down there, I'd think it was a spider. this is, but that's a house finch on the water. I don't know what this one is on the ground. I don't know what he is, but the house finches didn't like him. They took off. Finally got that one of those bees, a different plant. Welcome to the neighborhood, kids. I suspect this rock was a holy place if you could figure out how to climb to the top of it. That gives me an idea of how do you become a shaman. You come and you sit on one of these peaks, sit there for 3 days without food and water. You have visions because your body gets depleted, and that's the way bodies are. Phoenix is that way. Sky Harbor is that way, where I flew into yesterday. So you sit there, you have visions. You come back down, claim your visions, claim to have power, and you're probably smart enough to manipulate people because you're an egotist. You manipulate people into thinking that you have power, and you have power. Now you're a shaman. You get gifts and special treatment for convincing people that you know what you're talking about. Got to remember how to, I guess back that away is where the car is. This is the desert. Imagine living here 1,000 years ago. Right in the middle there is a cactus, saguaro cactus. Those things have to get like 70 or 100 years old before they put on branches. That's a little one, and the branches are really little, so that's less than a couple hundred years old. And it's got a Gila, I just saw a glimpse of him, Gila woodpecker nest there. They do nest in these things. Did you see that one coming in? I'll stop, see if I can get a better look. I don't have my glasses on as usual, but there's one sitting in front of the thing. There comes another one. That's pretty cool. I go from 2 days ago never having seen a Gila. Oh, here's a hummingbird. Probably a black-chinned. I hope it's being filmed properly. Little hummingbird up there. I hope, yeah, there we go. There he is. Little hummingbird. Let's see, where did we go over here? There we go. Back to the... I'm exhausted because I don't move much. Hohokam 101. The Hohokam, Salt River's right over that way, and remember that terrain because we're going to come back to it in a second. The Hohokam built canals. This is an example of the kind of canal that they would build. Canals, bigger canals from the river, other canals would come off of this and would be used for farming to irrigate their crops. All over the Tempe, and of course they didn't put in this bridge. All over the Phoenix area, this county, whatever it is, you can find these canals if you know what you're looking for, and they're just not that hard to find. So this is an example of a Hohokam Canal, right? Nope. You know how you edit film, how news edits stuff to make sure that they look like they know what they're doing, like they're being honest? Well, this is an embankment. That is downhill. That is downhill to the river. This is not a Hohokam, this is just a canal that has been used. And it may be a Hohokam canal. They may have added this embankment to keep the water in it. I don't know. I'm not from here, what do I know? Anyway, like, subscribe, comment, especially comment. Let me know what you think. I've got a couple of mallards down there.